on a tranquil Sunday evening. As I stirred a pot of simmering stew, my son revealed he had been longing for years to be rid of me. The words felt surreal, yet they defined my reality. For decades, I had crafted a life where family reigned supreme. Every sacrifice made to ensure my son could rise higher, stronger, and freer than I ever did. That night, in the home my husband and I had tirelessly built, he gazed at me with a blend of eagerness and disregard, as if I were merely an outdated piece of furniture cluttering his space. The stew bubbled gently, steam clouding the window above the sink. My husband, Walter, sat at the table, his reading glasses resting low, calmly reviewing the monthly bills. We had mastered stretching every penny, and though our joints ached more with age, we never voiced a complaint. That evening was meant to be a serene interlude before the week ahead. Then the front door flew open. Derek, my son, stormed into the kitchen with Elisa beside him, their laughter jarring for the time of night. They didn't pause to acknowledge us, ignoring the stew, the spreadsheets, and the sanctuary we had provided. Their focus was solely on their own radiance. In Elisa's hand, a lottery ticket danced like a banner in a tempest. 2 million, she gasped, her eyes gleaming with avarice. We've won $2 million. My ladle halted midair. For a moment, I thought I misheard, but Derek confirmed it, slapping the table with a triumphant grin. Finally, we're free at last. No more living like this. Like this. The phrase stung. What did he mean by that? The home we had upheld, the meals I prepared, the lights kept burning by Walter's and my efforts. Every word he spoke felt like a stone pressing on my chest. Elisa leaned against the counter, her sneakers leaving marks I'd later scrub away. She twirled the ticket tauntingly. She looked at me the way one might assess junk at a garage sale, outdated and unworthy. You too should start packing soon, she said, with a saccharine tone more cutting than malice. We need room for our new chapter. No space for you here anymore. Peace and quiet. As if evicting us was a kindness. I nodded, lips sealed, wary of what might escape if I spoke. Walter closed his laptop deliberately. His silence was a fortress, though I caught the flicker of pain in his eyes, a hurt he'd never express. My husband always trusted numbers to reveal the truth. But that night, the truth shone in our son's contemptuous gaze, masked as independence. Derek paced the kitchen, gesturing wildly as if already a millionaire in a mansion. We've waited years for this, and now it's here. No more depending on anyone. No more feeling trapped. You know what, Mom? No offense, but you and Dad, you're dull. We need to live. Dull. The word twisted my heart. The sleepless nights I endured worrying about his teenage escapades. The extra shifts I worked to fund his school trips. The birthdays I orchestrated down to the last balloon and frosting doll. As if love and sacrifice could be dismissed with a taste of imagined wealth. Elisa giggled, echoing him, her arms sliding around him. We've carried them too long, she said. Time to enjoy life just us. Young, free, and fun. Not bogged down by. Her eyes flicked to me, then Walter. She didn't finish, but I knew the word, old. We were burdens in their narrative, a footnote they wished to erase. I swallowed hard, stifling the tears I refused to let them see. Walter reached across the table, his fingertips brushing mine. A silent vow, we still had each other. Dinner that night was mute. Derek scrolled his phone, chuckling over plans with Elisa. New cars, a fresh phase of life. Elisa whispered about parties, about hosting real friends without us lingering. They ignored the stew I'd made, didn't thank me for setting the table. As they left the kitchen, Elisa tossed over her shoulder, "Don't forget Friday. Out by Friday. We'll get the locksmith Saturday, just to be safe. Thanks for understanding." The phrase churned in my gut. I wanted to shout, to demand how they could be so callous, so blind, but my voice stayed trapped. Instead, I cleared their untouched bowls. rinsing them under water that grew too hot to bear. The steam blurred my vision, and I told myself it was just the heat. That night, Walter and I sat in the guest room, surrounded by boxers once filled with Derek's childhood treasures, his toys, books, photos. Now, those boxers would hold our displacement. The Wi-Fi went dark, password changed. The small comforts, the ties that bound us, severed in one swift move. A message from Derek lit my phone. "Hey, can you drop your keys on the table before you leave? Sooner's better." A heart emoji followed, a mockery veiled as affection. Every word, every act, dripped with rejection. Yet I remained silent. Silence was my only defense, my shield. I wouldn't plead. I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't let them savor my begging. In that dim room, resentment swelled like a tide, steady and unrelenting. Resentment for every unthanked bill, for every worried night while they laughed, for every time I was the unseen backbone of this house. They thought they were finally free. They had no inkling of freedom's true price. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. Derek's voice looping, weighed down, waiting to be rid of us. My son, my own flesh. Yet in that moment, I grasped something he didn't. Storms pass, and a house built on pride alone will crumble. By Friday, we'd begun not because they forced us out, but because I chose to leave with dignity intact. When their fortune faltered, when reality intruded, they'd find only their own echoes within those walls. The next morning, the house was still, but not with peace. It was a silence that pressed on my chest, making each breath labored. Walter and I sat in the guest room. Once Derek's childhood haven, the shelves still held a few of his dusty, worn books, but the space had become our refuge. Now it resembled a staging area, boxes stacked half full with our belongings. Each box echoed a promise we'd kept for him, furniture we bought, clothes we folded, meals we cooked. Now, we were the ones being packed away. I perched on the bed's edge, hands clenched, staring at the floor. My mind replayed every word from the night before. It'll waited years to be rid of you. Out by Friday each, cutting deeper with reflection. Derek's casual, almost proud tone made my efforts feel meaningless. Elisa's laughter rang in my ears, sharp and derisive, showing no hesitation in wanting us gone. I recalled the utilities, every bill in my name. The grocery runs, the countless store trips. Derek asking for tuition help years ago, promising repayment we never saw. Elisa calling me to cover the electric bill last winter when they claimed hardship. Walter and I quietly managed it. We always managed it. And now they saw us as a burden. Memories flooded in waves. Derek's 10th birthday. Staying up all night, baking a football-shaped cake. He hugged me tightly that morning. I thought that love would endure. The time Elisa crashed her car, and we paid for repairs because she feared her parents' wrath. She cried in my kitchen, thanking me for saving her. Where had that gratitude fled? How had it vanished so fast? Walter distracted himself sorting papers, but I saw his shoulders sag with each taped box. His silence wasn't apathy. It was endurance. He knew if he spoke, anger would spill, and anger wasn't his way. He glanced at me once, his eyes mirroring my disbelief. We were two souls who had borne so much, now treated like discarded relics. By noon, I drifted back to the kitchen. The stew pot sat untouched on the stove. The food had cooled, a thin layer of fat congealing on top. Derek and Elisa hadn't eaten a bite. They'd cast aside not just the meal, but the care behind it. I poured it down the sink, hands shaking. It felt like washing away years of my life, years they now deemed valueless. The house felt hostile now. Every corner held echoes of small betrayals I'd once overlooked. Elisa correcting me before guests. Derek's dismissive shrugs when I asked if they needed anything. Whispers overheard late at night about waiting for their time. Realized those weren't fleeting remarks. They were signs of their true feelings all along. That afternoon, Derek sent another message. Hey, just checking. Friday noon. Don't make it harder than it needs to be. No apology. No recognition of his words. Wait. Just a directive, as casual as ordering food. I stared at it, chest tightening. Walter glanced at my phone and shook his head slowly. We didn't reply. Resentment grew heavier with each memory. Vacations we funded, clothes we bought. Countless times we said yes at our own expense. Late nights Walter spent fixing their sink, car, plans. We gave them everything. Yet in their minds, we gave nothing worth recalling. That evening, I opened an old photo album from the closet. Derek as a baby in a blue blanket. Derek holding Walter's hand on his first school day. Derek in his graduation gown, smiling as if the world was his. Those photos captured our sacrifices in every detail. Yet now, he dismissed us with one word: dull. The insult's weight grew with each thought. Walter sat beside me, quiet but firm. We'll be okay, he said, his voice measured. We've faced worse. I nodded, but my heart felt raw. It wasn't losing the house that broke me. It was losing respect, acknowledgement, visibility. I'd built my life as the foundation, the unseen support. Now I saw how truly invisible I'd become. That night, the Wi-Fi stayed locked, a stark reminder of our swift disconnection. Derek and Elisa moved through the halls, laughing, planning, their voices piercing thin walls. They didn't soften their tones, showed no shame. It was as if we'd already vanished. Every laugh, every whisper underscored our I lay awake, Walter's hand on mine. My mind wouldn't rest. I replayed every slight, every forgotten thing, every favor turned expectation. We'd been the house's skeleton, the beams holding it up. Yet no one framed the beams in photos. No one praised them at gatherings. Now, stripped of gratitude, I saw clearly, they'd never seen us, only what we provided. By morning, resentment no longer felt like a wound. It felt like armor. Every cruel word, careless act, demand built a wall within me. I didn't shout, argue, or explain. I wielded silence like a sword. Derek and Elisa thought they'd won, but they didn't grasp silence's power. It could hold tears. It could store strength. It could wait. Friday loomed with our departure. But I vowed this: when we left, it wouldn't be as victims. It would be as those who faced the truth. They mistook our silence for frailty. They mistook our sacrifices for duty. They mistook us for shadows. Soon, they'd learn life without shadows. Wait. By Thursday, I no longer felt like a guest in my home. I felt like an intruder awaiting the lock's click. Walter and I rose early not out of necessity, but because rest eluded us and a place turned cold. He poured coffee. I buttered toast, and we sat across from each other in silence. We knew today marked our exit. I pulled out a yellow notepad and listed the truth in ink. Every bill, service, expense hidden under our names so Derek and Elisa could feign control. The list stretched longer than I did. Gas, internet, the family phone plan, even Elisa's meal delivery signed up until they stabilized. All tied to us. All draining us. None acknowledged. Their voices from earlier rang out by Friday. I tapped my pen, jaw tight. If Friday was the deadline, today was the pivot. I started calls. The electric company first. Yes, stop service at the old address Friday, start at the new one. My voice stayed calm, almost eerily so. The clerk asked about transferring the deposit. Mail the check, I said. As I hung up, something loosened inside. That bill would no longer bear my name. Let Derek feel the current's cost. Next came gas and water. Each call grew easier. By the time I canceled streaming services and removed our card, I felt steadier. It was like closing valves in a basement one by one. The pipes quieted. Walter worked beside me, lifting boxers, labeling them. Occasionally, he met my eye and nodded. Words weren't needed. We'd lived too long together to waste them now. Around 10 o'clock, Derek passed our door. Earbuds in, phone aglow. He didn't look up. "Don't take forever. Al's got weekend plans," he muttered. The sting was acute. Not a question of help, just a reminder we inconvenienced them by existing. I clenched my fists against my thighs, holding silence. It wasn't weakness anymore. It was strength. By noon, movers arrived. 2 young men carried our sofa and bed carefully down the hall. Derek stood on the porch, sipping an energy drink, eyeing every move. "Watch the walls," he told them. No word to us. No thanks for furniture he'd lounged on for years. His tone echoed his teenage commands. My chest tightened, anger mingling with grief. Walter squeezed my hand before heading to the car. I knew he felt the same burden. By late afternoon, clouds burst, rain hammering the driveway. It felt like the house rinsed us out. We followed the moving truck through glistening streets to the modest rental we'd found, a small ranch with a porch and a young maple out front. Nothing lavish, but the porch light glowed for us, nearly bringing tears. For the first time in ages, I entered a space where I wasn't in the way. Boxers towered against walls, but the air felt lighter, freer. Walter boiled water while I unwrapped mugs. We sat in the dim kitchen, rain tapping, knowing we'd taken our first step to reclaim our lives. The emotional shift came that evening. Unpacking an old drawer of keepsakes, I found a shoebox buried under yellowed envelopes. Inside was a coupon book Derek made for Mother's Day at 9. Each page in his shaky scrawl: good for a hug, good for dishes, good for mowing. Most were marked redeemed, but one remained: good for doing the right thing. My hands trembled, holding it. My throat tightened, but no tears fell. I slipped it into my wallet, not expecting him to use it, but needing the reminder for myself. I could still choose right. At 7 o'clock, my phone buzzed. A message from Derek. "Where's the lawn equipment? Someone's coming Saturday." Then, "What's the router login? Wi-Fi's down." My heart sank. Even now, they expected me to sustain their world. They assumed I'd keep paying, fixing, serving. I typed slowly, each word a stone in a wall. "Please manage your own mortgage and expenses." I read it aloud to ensure no anger, only truth. Then I sent it. The reply was swift. "Wow, cold. Didn't think you'd turn on family. We're celebrating over here." A photo followed, 2 glasses raised. Takeout boxes spread, Elisa's nails glinting. I set the phone face down, eyes closed. Resentment flared, then clarified. They weren't celebrating us. They hadn't for years. They toasted our absence. Walter placed a bowl of diner soup before me. "Eat," he said simply. We sat at the small table, mismatched chairs close, rain against the window. I looked at him, steady and unshaken, and realized the truth. The only family I needed was across from me. That night, I stepped onto the porch with my wallet. I pulled out the coupon. "Good for doing the right thing." Under the light, I whispered, "The right thing is leaving." For the first time in years, I believed it. We slept on clean sheets in a house free of contempt's echoes. The rain softened to a lullaby, and silence healed. Tomorrow, Derek and Elisa would face bills in their names. Responsibilities without a net. As for us, we'd wake in a place truly ours, however small. In that, there was freedom. The first night in our new home passed quietly, almost too quietly. Walter and I slept with the window ajar, rain filling the room. I woke early, disoriented, hearing Derek's heavy steps only, the maple branches creaking. This house had its own sounds, ours alone. By mid-morning, we unpacked the kitchen. The phone buzzed. A message from Derek lit the screen. "We need to talk, urgent." My stomach tightened. I didn't respond, setting it face down. 10 minutes later, another text. It was a mistake. "The ticket's fake. One number off." I read it twice, showed Walter. He raised his brows, silent. More messages followed. We can't cover bills. Mortgages due next week. Bank's calling. Can you help until we sort it? I stared until the words blurred. Resentment surged. Days ago, they laughed, called us dull, demanded Friday. They toasted our exit with takeout. Now, suddenly, we were needed. Walter's hand rested on my shoulder. Don't answer, he said quietly. Let silence speak. But it wasn't easy. It pressed hard, heavy with weight. Memories of Derek's smug tone, Elisa's glass-sharp laughter changing the Wi-Fi, saying we were on our own all returned. Now they wanted help. By afternoon, the phone rang. I let it go to voicemail. Elisa's voice filled the room. This is ridiculous. We're family. You can't just walk away. I deleted it without listening. Family. Where was that word when we cooked, paid, carried? Where when they called us background noise? Evening brought a knock. We froze. Through the window, Derek's car sat crooked. He stood on the porch, shifting. For a moment, I saw the boy nervous after breaking a vase. But he'd become a man who made us strangers. He knocked again. Mom, Dad, please talk. We didn't mean it. It got out of hand. His words rushed, desperate. I stayed still, heart pounding. Walter's hand tightened on mine. Then Derek's tone sharpened. Fine, do what you want. But when it crashes, don't act. It's not your problem. You raised us there. You're part of it. I closed my eyes, leaning against the wall. Resentment burned. Even in failure, he blamed us. Even in fear, he sought control. I let his words pass like smoke. The car engine faded. The next day, calls persisted. Derek tried. Then Elisa. When I didn't answer, she messaged long. This is childish. You're hurting everyone. The house is falling without you. Do you care? I read it to Walter. He chuckled softly. Do I care? They showed they didn't care for us. But hurting everyone nagged. I'd been the glue, the unseen support. Now stepping away, I was the villain. On Saturday, a letter arrived forwarded from the bank to Derek. Old address. Missed payments. My chest tightened. I'd intercepted those, paid, fixed. Now it wasn't mine to open. I set it aside. That night, another knock. Elisa stood, arms crossed, eyes flashing. This isn't funny, she snapped. You're ruining everything. Derek's stressed. I can't handle it alone. You have to step in. I faced her, the woman who laughed in my face, toasted our departure, treated me like furniture. My voice was steady, hands trembling. No. Her mouth dropped. What do you mean no? I said slowly, you called us dull. You said you didn't want us. You told us to leave. And we listened. Her face hardened. So you'll let it all collapse. After all we've done? My laugh was sharp, bitter. What you've done for me. You've given silence. Contempt. Now I'm to rescue you again. Walter stepped forward, calm but firm. Time for you both to stand alone. Her eyes narrowed. You'll regret this. She stormed off, door slamming. When quiet returned, I sank onto the couch. My chest ached, not from fear, but years carried too long. Walter's arm wrapped my shoulders. We did right, he whispered. I nodded, tears stinging. I know, but it's not easy. Days blurred into a rhythm of silence. Their messages grew short, harsh. You've abandoned us. Selfish. Not parents anymore. Each meant to wound, to pull us back. It hardened my resolve. I deleted each carefully. Still, resentment churned. Holidays we funded, doctor's bills, gas, groceries, quiet sacrifices. None mattered now. They recalled only our no. On Wednesday evening, on the porch with tea, my phone buzzed. The bank's taking the house. Are you happy now? I stared. Resentment flared, but something shifted. Happiness wasn't it. I wasn't glad they lost. Wasn't glad they suffered, but I wasn't to fix it. I turned off the phone, pocketed it. Walter squeezed my hand. Let them face it. Only way they'll learn. As sun set, I saw it. They'd mistaken my love for duty, my silence for weakness. Now, as their world cracked, they saw truth. We'd been the skeleton. Without us, it felt. Though resentment lingered, a strange calm emerged. I needed no argument, no proof. My silence sufficed. Days after their lottery dream crashed, silence ruled my side, noise theirs. My phone glowed constantly, messages, calls, voicemails, tags. Derek and Elisa played a new game, pushing every button to reel me back. I read it first, old habits lingering. Derek's texts were excuses, half apology. We didn't mean it like that. We were excited. You're twisting it. Elisa's were sharper. Your fault. You left at the worst time. Real parents don't walk away. Each left a mark. Resentment sat cold, heavy. Real parents. What were we? Who paid the mortgage, groceries, insurance, subscriptions, endless bills? Walter avoided it. He brewed coffee, mowed our small lawn, fixed a squeaky hinge. Don't feed it, he said gently. They're throwing words to see what sticks. I tried, but they clung. One evening, a message arrived, not from them. Mrs. Pearson. Our old neighbor. You were the house's support. Without you, it's crumbling. I read it thrice. The tightness eased. Someone saw. We weren't invisible. I showed Walter. He smiled warmly. Truth leaks through cracks. But they escalated. Social media posts. Parents abandoning kids in hard times. Messages to family. They've gone cold. Relatives, silent for years, weighed in. Is it true? Did you leave them nothing? Each ping stoked resentment. Birthdays I cooked while Elisa posed with my cakes. Holidays I bought gifts, Derek claimed. Doctor's visits, car repairs. Vacations posted online, paid by us. Forgotten now, we were cruel for stepping aside. I wanted to shout, post every receipt. But I didn't. Walter's voice echoed. Don't feed it. Silence was my shield, cutting to hold, but survival's key. Doubt crept in at night. Had I gone too far? Was I punishing more than teaching? But Derek's voice returned. You can't walk away. You're part of it, not a plea, a demand. This was control, not family. One Sunday, with coffee on the porch, a car pulled up. Derek stepped out, thinner dark circles under his eyes. He didn't approach, just stared. My heart raced, but I waited. Mom, you're really not coming back. I swallowed. No, Derek, I'm not. He shifted. We messed up, we thought. His voice cracked, then hardened. You're leaving us to drown. Resentment boiled, but steadiness rose. We didn't push you in, I said. You jumped, pushed us out. Swim now. His face twisted. Elisa called, sharp. Leave it. They're not worth it. Those words cut deepest. Not worth it. After years, sacrifices, love, it ended in 4. Derek slumped, returned to the car. They drove off. I froze, mug trembling. Walter steadied me. That's the word you needed. They'd spoken their truth. I could let go. Messages slowed. Posts faded. Their silence matched mine. Peace came not from resolution, but from shedding their chaos. One evening, as snow fell, Walter and I sat in the living room. Kettle whistling. Outside was hushed, white blanketed. We didn't talk much. The quiet was safe, full. My phone buzzed. Elisa, we'll see you when you come to your senses. Families circle back. I didn't reply. I turned it off, slid it into a drawer. My boundary was a choice, steady, clear. That night, snow thickened. I realized love needn't be earned. Rejection, painful, was love for myself, saying no more. Walter poured tea. Here's to us, he said. I raised mine. Here's to us. We sat, to hood carried much, finally unburdened. Snow glowed under the streetlight. Inside, warmth filled our small home. For the first time in years, I felt free. Maybe someone in their own silence needs this. You don't earn love. You don't buy your place in another's tale. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to share your story in the comments section. Your voice matters.